I'm Carol Angela Davis. Thank you for joining me for your reality news check. We're going to begin, of course, as we always do, with your headlines. Today being the 25th of January, 2012. President Obama lays it down, folks, and he's not kidding. We'll tell you about it also. Oh, those Navy SEALs. Oh, my goodness gracious. They've done it again. We'll tell you about that. Plus, Newt Gingrich is still besting Mitt Romney in Florida. Newt is still surging in Florida, folks. Then another sex scandal, athletic department resignation. This time it's in Wisconsin. We'll tell you about that. Plus, Apple is one amazing company. You know what? It's nice to know that oil money can be bested. It's such a great feeling to know that. Also, Julian Asange, you know who he is. Will he be coming to a video stream on a device near you very soon? We'll tell you about his new TV show, and it's straight out of Russia. You should know that. And finally, the zetas and the drug business in Mexico. All I can say is, oh no. Oh no, folks. Okay, let's begin. All I can say is, well, folks. President Obama, he's now on the campaign trail for the rest of this week. That, of course, is after delivering his State of the Union address. In that speech, Obama said we have two choices, folks. We can either continue as we are doing and give opportunity to a few people, or, folks, we can do what this country has been known to do for generations, and that is give everyone a chance to prosper. Here is my favorite quote from the President's State of the Union address. A quote, "Let's never forget millions of Americans who work hard and play by the rules every day deserve a government and a financial system that does the same. It's time to apply the same rules from top to bottom." Folks, get this. Are you ready for this? No bailouts, no handouts, and here's the one I love, and no cop-outs. That's right, folks. He goes on to say, "An America built to last insists on responsibility from everybody." Well, folks, you should know that the economy, he's doing a great job, folks. The economy has added nearly 3.2 million private sector jobs in the last 22 months. American manufacturing is creating jobs for the first time, folks, since the 1990s. Now, don't let him fool you. He's doing a great job. The American auto industry, as we know, is coming back, adding 100,000 jobs in the last year. And, folks, U.S. oil production, even though you know I hate the oil companies, is at the highest level in 8 years. So he's doing something right. Now, Obama says we can no longer afford to give tax incentives to companies who take the jobs overseas. Thank you. You can have you can take all the jobs overseas you want to, but you aren't getting any tax incentives for it, okay? He also wants a tax cut for American manufacturers, and the president wants millionaires to pay more taxes, including a specific proposal for millionaires to have a tax rate of 30%. Now, of course, we know now that Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney is paying a tax rate of less than 15%, and he wants to be president. I don't think so. Meanwhile, on the campaign trail, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, he continues to surge in Florida, folks. And here's what he says about Obama's policies. Now, hear this, folks. Quote, "Our goal is in the executive orders that we sign on the first day that by the time President Obama lands in Chicago, we will have dismantled about 40% of his administration," unquote. Gingrich said that to a cheering crowd. And let me tell you, that's only about an hour flight, hour and a half max, okay? So he's going to dismantle everything. We're not going to let that happen, dude. I'm sorry. We're just not going to let that happen, okay? But get this, though, even though that's what we say, get this. According to a Quinnipiac University survey that was released today, in Florida, Romney is at 36% support. Gingrich is at 34% support. Former Senator Rick Santorum of Pennsylvania, folks, he's got 13%. And Representative Ron Paul from Texas, he's at 10%. 7% is undecided, folks. Romney's 2-point margin, he's at 36. Gingrich at 34. It is well within the margins, the sampling error of that poll. Now, apparently, the poll indicates that Romney is viewed as more likely to best handle the economy and shares the most values with voters, which in and of itself is scary, while Gingrich is seen by more of the people who were questioned by the poll as having the knowledge and the experience to be president, being a strong leader, and being best for dealing with foreign policy. Well, meanwhile, folks, while we were sitting in our little chairs watching the president give his State of the Union address, I got to tell you something. He was multitasking like a you-know-what. I mean, he was in the mix, okay? The military actually dropped into Somalia and freed 2 foreign aid workers while he was giving his speech, okay? The workers had been kidnapped by pirates in Somalia. They had been kidnapped on October 25th. And that, folks, is the work of our elite Navy SEALs. Apparently, there was a shootout. The 2 hostages were freed. They were uninjured, but 9 of their captors are supposedly have been killed. No casualties reported among U.S. forces. And yes, folks, it was that same elite Navy SEAL Team 6, folks. Oh, I'd like to meet them. They're the ones who killed Osama bin Laden. They spent 1 hour on the ground. They do not BS around. 1 hour on the ground. And when they left, they had American Jessica Buchanan, 32 years old. They had her with them, and a Danish man. His name is Paul Thisted. He's 60. Now, the two had been working for the Danish Debenning group. That's part of the Danish Refugee Council when they were abducted by gunmen, as we said, back in October. And you should know that of Somalia, in case you're wondering, it does have a UN currently. There's an interim government in place. It is backed by the UN. It controls the capital, of course, which is Mogadishu, and we have to thank that to the efforts of a 12,000-strong African Union force. So we thank them for that. All right, back here at home, folks, in other news, a University of Wisconsin senior official is now the latest to resign in an athletic department sex scandal. John Chatema resigned after reportedly making unwanted sexual advances to a male student employee of the school's athletic department. John, we should tell you, Chatema was a senior associate athletic director at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Apparently, the event happened in late December at a party that Chatema hosted at a hotel in Los Angeles. It was it was a Rose Bowl party. In business news, go Apple. Can you believe that company is the world's most valuable publicly traded company? Apple nudging out oil giant Exxon Mobil to get that honor. Okay, Apple reportedly reporting the best quarterly results in history for a tech company, pushing the company's market value to 419 billion buckaroos, folks. That represents a 73% jump in sales to $46.3 billion, a tech industry record. And this last quarter is one of the most profitable quarters ever for any U.S. company. In the most recent quarter alone, you should know Apple sold a whopping 37 million iPhones. That is twice what it sold in the same period a year ago. And the news is not only good for Apple, folks. We should know that its results also help boost the shares of companies that make components for Apple products. Lift when the tide comes in, folks. Everybody gets lifted. That's what the president's been telling us about the economy. Look at it in the microcosm. Look at Apple. Look at all the companies that lifted. Listen to this. We're talking chip makers, including Broadcom, Qualcomm, TriQuint, ARM Holdings, Cirrus Logic, and Skyworks Solutions. All of those companies, folks, all of them surged thanks to Apple. Nuance Communications, that's one of the companies responsible for Apple's voice recognition software, Siri. Well, it gained 3%. Zag, a maker of mobile device accessories, folks, that one rose 4%. And I want you to know, just so you're wondering about the stock symbols for those companies, Broadcom, BRCM, Qualcomm, QCOM, TriQuint, TQNT, ARM Holdings, ARMH, Cirrus Logic, CRUS, and Skyworks Solutions, SWKS, and finally Zag, ZAGG. If you want to look those stock symbols up, those companies up, those are the stock symbols. All right, so we also want you to know that the iPad sales doubled to a record 15.4 million. Apple also sold 5.2 million Macs, and that was just during the holiday quarter, which ended on December 31st. Okay? Go Apple. We love you. It's nice to know that you don't have to, like, you know, scrape up the holy ground and all the oil and everything. It's the only way you can make money out here. Okay, also today, can you believe that the founder of whistleblowing website WikiLeaks and Julian Asange, who's also being called a cyberspace activist, okay, he is getting a TV show on a Russian state satellite channel. Now, as you know, that's right, folks. As you know, WikiLeaks, that's the website that published a ton of material, mostly from leaked diplomatic cables. Apparently, Assange is going to interview key political players, thinkers, and revolutionaries from all over the world. Now, I guess we'll have to wait and see how that turns out because, of course, right now, Assange is still fighting extradition from the UK to Sweden over sexual assault allegations, and they are allegations that he denies. Finally today, folks, we travel to Mexico where the news is simply not good. The Zetas, that's Mexico's largest drug gang. That is the word from a new study. Apparently, the Zetas now operate in more than half of all of Mexico's states. Yuck. Since 2007, we want you to know that 47,500 people have died in drug-related violence in Mexico. According to this study, violence has increased in the cities of Veracruz, Monterrey, Matamoros, and Durango, while murders in Juarez have dropped, although the city still remains the most violent in Mexico. The Zetas control much of eastern Mexico. If you ask yourself, how do they do it? Here's how, folks. Their leadership is composed of ex-special ops soldiers and they are willing to resort to extreme violence. The report forecasts a continued expansion of Mexico's cartels into South America. Ugh. Those are your stories, folks. Thanks for joining us. This is your Reality News Check. I'll see you next time. I'm Carol Angela Davis. Follow me on Twitter @CarolAngelaD. Have a great day.